I want to speak about freedom through forgiving enemies. And if you think that is difficult to say, it is even more difficult to do. There are at least 2 verses in the Bible that talk about this. The first is found in what is commonly known as the Lord's Prayer. In Matthew 6 verse 12 it says, "And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors." It follows that we cannot expect forgiveness if we don't forgive others. The second verse that I want to refer to is in Matthew 5 verse 44. "But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use and persecute you." This verse gives a definition of those who might be our enemies, including those who curse you, who hate you, those who spitefully use and persecute you. Both of these verses encourage us to move on and put such people and events behind us. Don't hold grudges, don't seek revenge. It has been said that to return evil for good is the devil's way. To return good for good is man's way, but to return good for evil is God's way. There will always be times when we're offended. The Bible talks about this a little in the book of Luke, where it says in Luke 17 verse 1, "It is impossible that no offences should come." Sometimes our mind plays tricks on us. We think that a person is our enemy, when in fact they are not. It is even possible that when a person stops us doing something, they might be trying to protect us from harm. That makes them more of a protector than an enemy. But our mind is trying to portray them as more of an enemy because they are stopping us from doing something. So when we treat them poorly, like an enemy, our relationship with that person becomes fractured. Nelson Mandela, that great elder statesman of Africa, provides a wonderful example of forgiveness. His father died when Mandela was young, and he was raised as an orphan. He soon rebelled against apartheid promoted by the South African Afrikaner minority government and was imprisoned. But after 27 years in prison, he was released and led the ANC to victory soon after. He broke apartheid and led the country to peace through various programs. But it really amazes me that a person who was treated so badly was able to leave prison with forgiveness in his heart and lead a country to peace. Surely after such treatment, he would have left prison a bitter man. Surely, as he became president of South Africa, there was a wonderful opportunity for him to punish those who treated him badly. But instead, he walked a path of reconciliation and became known as the father of the nation of South Africa. In the Old Testament of the Bible, there's a story of Abraham and Lot, who was Abraham's nephew. Perhaps you know it. In Genesis 13, verses 8 and 9, we read, "So Abraham said to Lot, 'Please let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brethren. Is not the whole land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, I will go to the right. If you take the right, I will go to the left.'" If we look at the relationship between Abraham and Lot, Lot was a nephew. He was the lesser person. Yet when Abraham realized there was a problem coming, he was the one who gave ground. And as I read the Bible from that point, I don't see Lot's name much more. There was a story about his daughters, which didn't go so well, and another story about his wife, which ended badly. I see Abraham's name mentioned many times in contrast. Sure, there were times when he got things wrong, but he was known as a great man of faith, and throughout the Bible held up as an example for people to follow. Forgiveness is not a once-only event. It is a constant event. It seems to me that offences constantly play in our minds, and in order to get release, we may have to offer forgiveness almost on a daily basis. It is no wonder that when Peter asked Jesus in Matthew 18, just how many times do we need to forgive a brother who does wrong to us, Jesus gave an interesting answer. Let's look at that response. It's found in Matthew 18, verses 21 and 22. Then Peter came to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Up to 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you up to 77 times, but up to 70 times 7. While I'm sure that this response encourages us to have a forgiving heart, we may need to forgive someone many times to get the release that we need. In my country and many other countries of the world, we have a restorative justice system where the victim meets with the aggressor and tells them about the pain that their crime has caused them and their family. It is sometimes a time when the victim offers forgiveness to the aggressor, and perhaps a time when the aggressor asks forgiveness of the victim. While the aggressor might show remorse, pleading poor mental health, drug use, or poor upbringing, it seems more rare for the victim to offer forgiveness. I heard of a situation recently where a young man died in his mother's arms, asking that the aggressor be given mercy because the aggressor had so much potential to turn their life around. There has been research in the United States that suggests that forgiveness is associated with good health. An American professor, Everett Worthington, whose mother was murdered, began a long study into the area of forgiveness. He found that those who refuse to forgive, there are increased stress levels, a suppressed immune system, and an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. But for those who can forgive and replace the negative emotions with positive feelings of compassion, sympathy, and empathy, there is lower blood pressure, lower diabetes, and many other things related to lower stress levels. Let us forgive those who cause an offence. It may not be necessarily to their face because they may not know they have offended you. But forgiveness from the heart can be a really powerful thing to your benefit. May God bless you today in a mighty way. Amen.